Hello, everyone. We're back with the Ignite podcast, BBB Sharing. I have an exciting guest today. We're going to talk about a couple things here in the community. An interesting woman I just met last week, a business person, Riley Shaia. If I said it right, Riley
You
Shaia.
said it right.
There you go. And I'm from Jersey, and so I struggle sometimes with my accents. I forget where I live right now. But I really want to hear from Riley, but I wanted her to talk a little bit to introduce herself and tell the folks listening about yourself and who you are. And how did I meet you, by the way?
Well, I met you at a fundraiser for John Reed, since he is exploring a run for lieutenant governor.
Correct.
And I am a former candidate for the House of Delegates. And after that run, I met John Reed throughout the run, and we decided that I could help him with an effort that he has, which is the Virginia Council. And he was very interested in creating a speaker series that allowed people who are marginalized to have a voice.
Okay.
And so we've been working together almost a year now on creating this speaker series.
Cool. So let's go to politics real quick, because the BBB is not political, but love hearing the story, because I think we need to find better and better candidates. And how did they find you? How did this all happen that you ran for office?
Well, I have a couple of friends that were in the legislature, and they had suggested it to me a few times, and it just, my kids were younger, life was very busy, and really the point where it really sunk in that this is what I needed to do was in 2020 when my kids were home, and I really saw what was going on in their schools. And then, the lack of activity that we had during that time allowed me to really kind of take stock of what was going on in other parts of the world as well. And so it just kind of started to build. I'm like, I really feel like I can make a difference. And the more I looked around, the more I realized we needed people in government who aren't so ingrained in government, right? They need, they have a lot of different perspectives, and I felt like I could bring a lot of that to it. My profession is physical therapy, so I have a medical background. I haven't practiced for a few years, but I do have that. I've run a small business with my husband as well as one for myself, so I have that experience. And then just the experience of being a parent. I think, it's not something that you have to have, but I think it gives you a unique perspective. And I felt like I could bring a lot to government. So, it didn't work out, but I learned a lot in the process, and I'm staying involved because I really care deeply about what's going on in this Commonwealth.
So it's a great story. And like I think I shared with you very quickly. So I ran for Senate in 2015. So we both have had the same experience. I had gotten to Sorensen years before, Sorensen Institute, never planning to run. And I got asked to run for a seat that was held by somebody for 25 years. And so the primary did not go my way. I do remember you when you were running your TV spots. Everything you did was first class. And I can say that as a retired, I will never again run, or else I will be separated or divorced from my wife, because she is so happy I lost. I was a terrible campaigner. I would have been a great legislator. And the mistake I made was telling those lobbyists that I was only going to go 2 terms, and I meant it, because I was in a for-profit business that I still had to operate. I couldn't drop everything. So for 18,000 a year as a state senator, that wasn't going to cut it at my age back then. Yeah. So anyway, but more importantly, that's how I believe God puts people together. So that's how I know you. I saw you on TV, didn't know anything. I don't live in Enrico, but John Reed is an advocate for the Better Business Bureau. We advertise on his show, Jeff Katz. And so I meet you at this event very quickly, had no idea where the conversation was going. I was just going to say to you, hey, I thought you did a great job. I understand what it's like to lose. Don't let it get you down. I always tell people I was depressed for about 6 months. People had no idea because I don't show it. But internally, I was a mess. And
it's hard.
It is. It's nothing like, and it's nothing like raising money. I cried the night of when I found out I lost, and I looked around the room, and other people started crying. I'm the first guy going to cry, right? So that's the worst part. And the reason I cried is the emotion, it hits you. It's over. And, I was so wrapped up in it and for a period of time. But I look at the people's eyes that gave me money. They trusted me, and I felt like I owed it all back to them, but I didn't have it to give it back. I blew it
totally
all.
understand.
So it's an interesting thing. So we start talking about the council, Virginia Council. If you could just explain to folks what it's about.
So the Virginia Council started in 2021 when all the monuments were coming down on Monument Avenue. And there was a group of people, John Reed included, that felt very strongly that that was not the appropriate thing to do. Okay. We can't erase our history. We have to preserve it. And regardless of how you feel about that history, it's not something that we should just get rid of and put in waste treatment plants and just out for the elements. So they went to work on trying to figure out how they were going to fix that problem. And part of the problem they saw was that it was done illegally. It was done unilaterally and illegally by the city of Richmond. And, it just wasn't something that was acceptable to them. So they started this council as a way to try to fight back against the destruction of our history. And it has evolved into a little bit more than that. So we basically have two tenets to our mission: preserving history, which is how it started. But we really wanted to do more than just that. We want to create a more prosperous future for Virginia. And the way that we see that happening is that we want to create this speaker series and education, because if we educate our citizenry, then they're going to be able to go out and be advocates for the things that, we feel that are very important. And one of those is preserving history, of course. But there's so much more to that. And I know you don't like to be political, but, there's a very unbalanced conversation.
I love it. I just can't, but you can.
Well, there's a very unbalanced conversation that's going on in the world today.
Yep.
And so we're just trying to balance that conversation.
It's awesome. So does he have founding fathers, founding members? Is there a board of directors? What can you tell us about that? How's the organization set up?
Yes,
it's a nonprofit.
It is a nonprofit. We have an executive council.
Okay.
And that consists of John Reed, the chairman, some vice chairs, and then we have some directors of various things. And my role is the executive director of the Virginia Forum, which is a program that comes out of the Virginia Council.
Okay. And so the members, you have members?
Yes, we do have members.
And so, because here at the BBB, so we have accredited businesses. It's not a membership. It's a little different the way we're structured for 113 years. So we get started. We understand the mission. How is it catching on? How do you market? How do people find out about it? Like, how do you find your new blood?
Well, it's very interesting that you say that, because we're working on finding that new blood. We have a great base of just very loyal members and followers. One of the things we do is we have a weekly newsletter, and we try to keep in touch with people that way. But we're really trying to grow our social media presence and reach some new people. So, right now it's a lot of word of mouth and people who are just, faithful at coming to a lot of our events. But, I'm sure you are aware that is a struggle to reach new people all the time.
So you're statewide, the whole Commonwealth, or just local?
Right now we're just local, but the vision is to take this statewide, especially with local chapters in other parts of the state.
Got it.
And then, dreams in, the next 5-10 years, we'd love to take the Virginia Forum to different parts of the state. So, if we bring a speaker into Richmond on a Thursday night, we'd love for them to go to the Southwest Virginia on Friday night, and then maybe, the east side, maybe the next day, and make it a whole thing for them, so we can really cover different parts. Yeah. But it's, it takes a lot of money and it takes a lot of manpower to do that. And, so we're a small group of 10 of us that are trying to do all this on a volunteer basis. So
on a volunteer basis. So yeah. If people listening, or they see you on Facebook or social media, do they just do an application, pay you a fee? How does it work?
Yeah, so if they go to the virginiacouncil.org, and that's all spelled out, the Virginia Council, they can just hit the tab that says Join Us, and they can join as a member. We do have a free membership, which just involves them getting the newsletter, and then you can kind of see there's different levels of membership. One of them, the highest level, allows you to go to 2 of our forums as a VIP for free. So, there's different levels they can join us. We welcome everyone, but we would love the support because that allows me to bring other people, speakers of higher caliber to the Virginia Forum.
Sure.
But we also have free monthly meetings. So we have more local guests that come and talk on topics that are kind of interesting to people locally as opposed to the broader, bigger speakers that we have at the Virginia Forum. So we have a wide variety of things that people can participate in.
Now, where do you meet?
Right now we're at the Park Lane Tavern on Wednesdays at noon. We're trying to see if we might want to change that up a little bit for the new year. So if they really want to stay in touch with us, they can join and get our newsletter, and they'll find out all of that.
You're a great teaser because that's exactly, you want people to follow you.
We do.
And it doesn't sound like party affiliations is part of this, religion. It's just, and I don't even want to say like-minded people. It's just people that want to preserve history. That can be anybody.
Oh, absolutely.
Because history does repeat itself.
Yes, it does.
Political science major I am, and I do know, researching, over the years, it's amazing how what goes around comes around again. So
yes, it does. We have to learn from the good, the bad, and the ugly. Everything.
Yes. And there's some ugly, and that's where we forgot to say directly when we were going through all that a number of years ago. Just being direct. Yeah, there was mistakes made. It's called, it's human error. We're not perfect people, and only God is, and that's been our problem in realizing that it's okay to forgive. I was at church the other day at the chapel, and the message was forgive. God forgave us, and how do we act like we can't forgive and forget, or whatever you want to say?
Yeah,
I guess you don't forget, but
you can forgive.
Yeah, remembering is good because that's part of history.
Exactly.
So your goal each and every day, you wake up, you have your other businesses, but when you spend your energy here, you and John and whoever else is involved, what is your goal each and every day?
Well, mostly to spread what the Virginia Council is, because I feel like, we've got, like I said, this faithful group of wonderful, wonderful individuals that come to our monthly meetings and our forums. But this could be so much bigger. And I think, my goal every day is to try to spread that news. And, it's an uphill battle, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort.
Riley, you asked me something in the beginning, because I was kind of complaining about the local area. I handle 42 counties, and the country I've lived in 4 states. We are different. I don't put the same country. Around the country, we have different things going on. This area is so difficult to get people to listen and to open their minds and to get corporations. They give money, but nothing's getting solved. We got fentanyl. It's killing our youth left and right. I've had the DEA in here. And so my answer to you was, I believe the Ignite program, which we started here at the BBB, is a silo. It's off to the side of the Better Business Bureau messaging, and that is to keep the marketplace safe and with trust. Ignite is about direct conversations and really finding answers. So some people sit at the chamber meetings every luncheon once a month, or they go to economic development meetings, and they go to tourism. And it's all wonderful. Baseball games, soccer games. We've got families breaking up left and right. We don't even know how to be fathers, mothers. They have no houses. They have no home ownership. We want to have affordable housing. I hate that word. That's disrespectful. I mean, you want to talk about monuments versus the word affordable housing. That's just a political term that somebody invented back in the 50s and 60s to get people dependent on us. And I want home ownership. I want us to find a way that everybody has an opportunity to buy a home, raise a family, and not develop a low-income area that falls apart. But if they own the properties, and if these were tiny homes or 100 or 1,000 square feet, up and down 500 and 500, and you could raise families, and if you had skin in the game, if you were going to own that house, you're going to keep the bad people away. And if you build a food market in the middle, like the governor's trying to do in Petersburg, right, with food, we're going to build a casino there. Great. Delegates so excited, and senators. I don't know what it's going to do. I talked to law enforcement. They're scared to death. They're going to hire 10 more cops or something. That's not going to do it. So go ahead.
No, I was going to say the kind of common denominator for all of what you're saying is we've lost community.
Yeah.
And whether you find community in your church or you find it in your neighborhood or you find it at your YMCA, we've isolated ourselves, and COVID made that worse. And we saw the importance of staying connected, but yet we keep repeating the same things. And if we create this community that we're all invested in, then that's how we move forward.
Correct. And if one more person says it's about our children, every election's about our children, well, then why aren't we doing something, right? Why is mental health off the charts? With Carl Leonard at the Heart Program in Chesterfield County, that's why he started the program.
Right.
But he's not a mental health. He tells everybody that. He tells the guy, I've been in meetings, and he says, please help me. I'm not a mental health professional. We're in jail, and we need to have help. So maybe the Virginia Council, I don't think those are necessarily your topics, but maybe they are. Maybe you're speakers. But I'm looking forward to hearing more about you, some wins out there, and I wish you best. I hope 25 comes together, and who knows, maybe Virginia Council and Ignite could commingle and do some programs, because I have a feeling you guys are exactly like we are trying to be. Our staff is really, we've had enough. We've fed up of the good old system. It's not working. And a lot of people are making good money off of it, but it's not working.
You're correct.
So, Riley, anything else you want to talk about real quick?
I mean, we would just love for you to follow us on social media, VA Council. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. We're expanding that. Actually, that's what I'm going to go home and do today, do a little bit more of that and try to expand some of our presence. But and then, of course, follow us at thevirginiacouncil.org and join us.
I think the podcast for the Virginia Council can happen right here. I can see you and John taping, 1 hour a month and just getting the word out. And you did a great job. You've got a great mind. You can think quickly on your feet, and you communicate a lot straighter than I do. So I drift all over. You did it very well.
That's very kind.
So thank you very much. Everybody, you can listen on our Spotify account. As Evie always reminds us, she's not here today, and I miss her by telling that, because she could rattle it off. But Ignite Spark by BBB. Follow us on YouTube, and be sure to listen to Riley and share this podcast so she can get her word out. Thank you.